All right, the last lesson from chapter 9 for us is solving rational equations and inequalities. I'm going to focus on the rational equations today, and we're going to see, we should know by now what this is. This is equations with fractions. And what did we learn in Algebra 1, Chapter 2 to do to equations with fractions? When we're in Algebra 1 and we're doing Chapter 2, we're thinking, I don't want to do all that. That's too much trouble. But now we're going to see why we needed to do all that, because it may be a lot of trouble, but it's still the way to do it. And now we're going to apply it to much more sophisticated things. So we'll make the fractions disappear by multiplying by the least common denominator. Did I say that? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did say that. So here we have an equation with fractions. An algebraic equation with fractions. So the way that we deal with that is make the fractions disappear. How do we do that? We multiply by the least common denominator. What is the least common denominator? So a couple of sections ago, we talked about how the least common multiple is the same thing as the least common denominator. So looking at that, looking at the 24 and the 4, you'd have to have a 24. And then looking at the 3 minus x, where's it found the most, is there 3 minus x. So you're going to have to take all of those fractions and multiply them by this least common denominator. So here's how that should work. So I've got the 5 24ths. I'm just going to spread out and do this. 3 minus x and 1/4. So to me, this is the best way to keep it straight, because you got to see where things are, where they come from, where they go, how that works. So I've got the same stuff I had originally, but I said that I'm going to make the fractions disappear by multiplying by the least common denominator. That's that guy. So what I'm going to do here is multiply by 24 times 3 minus x. Everybody gets the 24 times 3 minus x. That's how we did it in Algebra 1 with simpler things. And that's how we've got to do it here with more difficult things. So everybody gets multiplied by the least common denominator. The beauty is the 24's cancel here. So guess what's gone? The fraction. Here, the 3 minus x is canceled. So guess what's gone? The fraction. Here, the 4 cancels with the 24. Guess what's gone? The fractions. And just like that, all fractions gone. You may get a fraction answer, but you're not going to fraction now. So let's go back and look at that. So that's going to be 15 minus 5x, because I've got to do distributed property with the 5 and the binomial. Here, all I've got is a 48. All right, 24 times the 2. And here, I've got 6 distributed, so it's 18 minus 6x. Normally, this is a linear equation. We have no squares or anything like that. So normally, we get the letters on the left, the numbers on the right. So let's see if we can do that. So if I take the 6x over there, it'd be a plus 6x. And I've got 15 and 48, which is 63. And I got to subtract it from here. 63 of the negative kind. $45, I think, of the negative kind. And I could check that by plugging it back in and see if it works. I hope the negative 45 is right. If not, I'll come back and fix it. Negative 45. Okay. If you didn't get all that, back it up, check, or back it up and look at it again. Here is the checking, and you can see what they've done is they put the 45 in place of x, and negative 45, and did the work and simplified it and found it out. So the solution is negative 45. So here's another one where we want to find the least common denominator, least common multiple for the denominators. You'd have to have a 2 in it. You'd have to have an x minus 1 in it. Because you can see the 2 and the 2. 2 covers that, and then the x minus 1. So you multiply everybody by that. I'm not going to do that one. I'm just going to let you see it. If you want to play with it, you can. You pause the video, whatever, and you see your A, B, C, D choices, and the right choice would have been B. So you can go back and play with that and see if you can make that work for yourself. I want to get on to some more interesting things. That is amazing right there. Just that problem right there suggest big things. I will have you notice, this is a fraction, this is equal to a fraction plus a p. A lot of times people don't even see the p, they just see that. And they start working with that problem, but we also have a p. So we gotta be aware that he's there. But thinking about least common multiple or least common denominator, it's got to have a p plus 1, because that's one of the denominators. It's found only one time. And you gotta have a p minus 1. Only found one time. So that's my least common denominator, or least common multiple. Now I'm not making them all have the same denominator. I'm gonna multiply by it, because this is an equation. You gotta know the difference between an equation and an expression. Expression doesn't have equal sign. Equation has equal sign. Equation has a balance, stuff on the left, stuff on the right. Got two things that are equal. I can add to both sides, subtract both sides, multiply, divide both sides. I can do any of that, and it contains its balance. So what I'm going to do here is multiply all of those pieces by the least common denominator. So I'm going to do what I did in the previous problem. I'm going to write I wish he hadn't done that. Hold on a second. I'll write all these pieces. But I'm leaving myself room, you know. Leaving myself room because I know what I'm going to do. I have all the pieces. Everybody see all the pieces. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply everybody by that to make the fractions disappear. So the p plus 1, p minus 1. 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 Now what happens to the p plus 1s here? Cancel. What happens to the p minus 1s here? Cancel. There was no canceling here because there was no denominator here because we just had the p. Okay? Now, what's about to happen is ugly. But all the fractions are gone. So I at least want to celebrate that. All the denominators are gone, so all the fractions are gone, so great. Now, I've got an equal sign right here. And I've got that times that, I got that times that times that, and over here I've got that times that. And those are all tough. Like this is an up there problem. Okay, but this is the kind of skill set you're going to need for where you're going. You need to be so fluid with your algebra skills that you can process all this stuff. So if you're not, you're going to have to practice. I mean, you're either going to practice and get better at it, or you're going to have a real struggle at the next level. And so you're just going to spend time. It takes discipline, it takes interest, and you're just going to have to deal with it. In order to do this binomial times this trinomial, I got to distribute the p to everybody and the -1 to everybody. So I'm going to do the p times everybody. P times the p squared, p times the negative p, and p times the -5. Then I'm going to do the -1, which really just changes all the signs. So it's minus p squared plus p plus 5. And you should know how to do that from previous things you've done. If you don't, you're deficient. You need to fix it. You need to spend time, watch videos, do work, practice IXL, go back to Algebra 1 IXL if you have to, work with rational expressions, do what you got to do to get used to this stuff. I said rational expressions. Actually, you could do multiplication of polynomials. So for the next one, for this one, you've got a binomial times a binomial. Well, we know a binomial times binomial is, what do they call that? FOIL. Yes. So I'm going to do FOIL here. So I've got to do first, outer, inner, last, and all that. So first would be the p times the p squared. Outer would be the p times the -7. Inner would be the 1 times the p squared. Right? 1 times p, and then last, 1 times the -7. And then I've got to do this. Now that is going to be easy. I say easy because you know what that is? That's going to be the difference of squares. When I multiply, the o and the I is going to cancel. I'm just going to get the p squared minus 1. Let me make a note of that. P squared minus 1. And then I'm going to multiply by p, which is p cubed minus p. sure enough. So I think what I'm gonna do on the left side is collect like terms. So I got the p cubed, I got this p squared and this one, okay, so I'll just put a dot up there when it's gone. So p squared and p squared is minus 2p squared. And then a minus 5p plus p. And then a plus 5. Almost didn't leave myself enough room. On this side, I got a p cubed and a p cubed. Just 2p cubed, I think. So, gone, or dealt with. I got a p squared. I got a 7p of negative and 1p of negative. And I got a minus 7. Lord help us. Where are we going? So, looks like my p cube's bigger on the right side, so I'm just going to keep it over here. I'm going to bring everything over here and make it equal 0. Let's see how that goes. Bring the p cubed over here, I get 1p cubed. Bring the 2p squared over here, I get 3p squared. Bring the 4p over here, I get negative 4p. Minus 7. Now at this point, Mr. Fultz is feeling like you made a mistake somewhere, because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I don't see how it factors, I don't see how it reduces. So you may have seen it, and that's the pain of being at home, is you may see it and I don't. So I'm gonna go forward and look and see what they did and see if I can see where I fell off the log and hit my head. Well, it's close. I lost my 5. That's what I did back over there. I didn't bring my 5 across. If I'd have subtracted 5, I would have had to subtract 12, and then I would have had what they had. So I was close, closer than I thought it was there for a second. So then, I think this is going to end up being grouping, because it's 4 terms, so it's going to be grouping. And the GCF here is p squared equal to 0. And so it'll be p minus 3. And the GCF here is 4. Middle sign in the middle. So that's going to be p. Oh, that's a plus 3. It'll be a plus 3. I think the beautiful thing wasn't going to happen. So just taking a little course here, I've got the p plus 3 and the p squared minus 4 equals 0, which that's p plus 3. But what is the p squared minus 4? You're right, it's the difference of squares. So I'm really small here, I know. So the difference of squares factors p plus 2, p minus 2. So you can see that I got a negative 3, and I got a negative 2, and I got a positive 2, and those are my 3 answers for the zeros. The beauty of the video is y'all can go back and review it. So you can see they got the negative 3, they checked it, they tried the negative 2, it checked, they tried the positive 2, it checked, they got the same 3 solutions that we did. And that's how that works. You're gonna need to watch this video a couple of times probably, so I'm gonna make it short.